I'm really appreciative of you being here, Kenny, as our first guest on this series. Um, yeah, welcome. And then beyond that, I want to say I'm really grateful to you, Zal, and you, Onaji, like Brian, right, for even letting me come in and have a vision for this podcast series. You two have been doing Let's Talk About Web3 for a couple of years. And I've been doing my own podcast with We Them Niggas for a couple of years. And you guys had me on last year, which was incredible. I was like really grateful. I love the energy and the chemistry. And getting to jam about what a new series could look like that would add value to the ecosystem and bring in some of the faces I've gotten to connect with over the last couple of years. I'm really grateful of the freedom you gave me inside of creating this, and I'm super excited. And so to let everybody know, this is Let's Talk About ETH, and we're here to talk about like what is this technology here for? What is ETH for? What is this ecosystem for? Why is ETH the smart contract blockchain with people all over the world building better futures, right? And what does that even mean? Is that even real? And I'm super excited to have you here, Kenny, because I was like so shocked when I met you in Denver at Ethereum, and you're like, but I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. And I was like, wow, the last place I thought I'd meet a Bitcoin maximalist is at the Based House in Denver. But yeah, I'd love to give you all the opportunity to introduce yourself, and then you, Brian, and then we'll hand it over to you, Kenny, to hear a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, everyone? My name is Zal, better call Zal, founder of the ZAO, focused on bringing the profit margin, data, and IP rights back to independent artists. Been doing it for the last 3 years in crypto and last 6 years with some musicians, and just loving every bit of builder energy that there is out here. Really excited about, bringing some of these tools that are non-technical individuals can use that had only been possible before as technical individuals, to kind of give these artists an opportunity to customize whatever they want. So yeah, I'll kick it over to you, B.
What's up? No, shout out to you guys. Shout out to chat coming through and sitting down with us today. I'm Onaji B. I'm Brian, behind Onaji and Onaji University. We've been building a safe space, for Black, Brown, and allied folks to learn and grow in emerging tech since 2022. It's been an amazing journey, connecting with everybody, and here today sitting with Kenny, our first guest for the season 1 of our spinoff of Let's Talk About Web3. But now we're diving into Ethereum. Let's talk about ETH. It's going to be a great time. So I'm excited, and just building community, getting in tune and tapped in with other like-minded builders who are here for the social good aspect. Trying to help humanity, trying to build things globally that are going to help more people succeed, and kind of keeping that Bitcoin ethos, that Satoshi ethos, decentralization, free access for everybody across the globe. So I'm excited to see how this podcast goes, and yeah, let's kick it off. Let's kick it over to Kenny.
Yeah, well, Kenny, I'm excited to have you. I'm going to give you a quick introduction, right?
There
Kenny's been in this space for a while. Kenny shared with me, right, that you were submitting articles for the Bitcoin magazine back in the day. You've been a journalist in the space, and now you're working on Pixar Didn't Happen. You have a background in SEO, and you're somebody building, right? That's what Pixar Didn't Happen is about. And so welcome to the show, and thanks for being with us once again.
Yeah. Thank you all for having me. Name's Kenny, been in the space for a long time. Most people know me by Poid these days, right? Which you can see in the background here. So Poid's a social bounty app built across Base, Arbitrum, Degen Chain, really all EVM stuff. And yeah, Poid is focused on like Ethereum ethos, social goods, right? I got into this space really thinking about things like big problems like governance, right? And DAOs, like that's what really drew me in. I love, the gambling aspect. Everybody loves that too. But at the end of the day, I'm here to think about like, how do we actually use this future money, right? That's what my buddy, I'll never forget the first time I told my buddy about Bitcoin in 2015. We're out playing hoops, and I'm talking to him about it. I'm like, this stuff's really cool. And then he just kept telling me, like, he kept reminding me about how I used to tell him about future money back in the day. So I love that term for it, because that's what it is, right? This is future advanced money. It's this amazing thing that we get to work with. And I think there are probably so many use cases out there for this future money that we haven't thought of yet, right? And a lot of people right now, this is the core debate that we are having. We see it on the timeline a lot. Like there's a side of crypto that has just, I don't want to say given up, but they're kind of pushing this argument that, yeah, crypto is going to be financial rails and it's going to be kind of boring and it's going to be stable coins and like that's okay. That's what we're going to be. That's fine. And personally, I refuse to accept that. And I think that there's still interesting, awesome things we can do with this that are non-financial, right? Obviously financial in some sort of way because it involves money, but not borrowing and lending, like real stuff, human collaboration, human coordination. And so that's what Poid is really focused on, and that's what me and Maseo were jamming on a lot at the house, and we are having such a good convo that he was like, "Yeah, let's get you on the podcast." So that's why I'm here today, because we were having such a good conversation about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was that's what surprised me, right? Because I'm like, oh, this like mini app on Farcaster. I'm like, Pixar didn't happen. I like this concept. Like, I'm curious, like for you, when did Poi become a concept? Like what was the impetus?
Yeah, so Poid came out of actually me trying to think about healthcare on the blockchain, which I'm obsessed with governance problems, right? And I'm a political science economics major from back in the day. So I've always liked thinking about these problems. And I want to say it was after my first son was born, and you got a lot of downtime. You're just sitting there taking care of a baby and you can just think about stuff. And I'm like trying to think through this problem of how can you have a pot of money that's on chain that anybody can put money into, right? So it's like crowd fund, but then anybody can try to take money out of it, which that's where things get hairy, because how do you know that the person taking money out deserves the money, right? Like how does everybody decide, everybody that put in have a say, right? And it's kind of what DAOs work on, right? But DAOs get really messy. And it was also coming out of thinking about seeing a lot of DAO rating things and seeing people have their treasuries rated and thinking about how can we fix that problem. So Poid came into being because what I settled on is that you want to have a single concrete yes or no, did this thing get done? Or are we funding this thing, right? You need one thing for people to vote on, because in general, humans on the internet are not good at having nuanced discussions or like discussions around, is this thing good or is this thing productive? But they are really good on problems of like, did this thing actually happen, right? You can have that debate. Or what's the old saying? There's something about like, if you lie, the fastest way to find truth on the internet is to like lie and throw a lie out there and somebody's going to correct you, right? So I thought like you could do this if you had like claims for specific things, specific people say like, hey, I need money because this thing happened to me, and they submit a claim and there's visual evidence, and then everybody can rally around that and vote on it. And so out of thinking about that issue, I thought this could apply to a lot of different things. And then I realized you could have this Poid mechanic, right? And actually the best way to do this would be to have one person say, I want to get something done. Right? One person who cares about getting something done, they define it. And then if people vibe with that idea and they want to see it funded, they can put in money, right? And to increase the pot of money to incentivize this thing. And then if anybody comes in and tries to claim that they did that, right? The person who created the bounty, if they like one of those claims, they can nominate it for vote. And then all those people who put in money now have the ability to vote on whether or not they agree that the thing happened, right? So I thought I got really excited about this because I realized this is a mechanic that does not exist. You can't do it with fiat. Like fiat money isn't programmable in this way where you could have a pot that people put into that it's somewhat out of their control, right? The money doesn't, they don't actually hold their money anymore, but there isn't one person who holds all the money. Like this was unique. This is totally different. And once I had it in my head, I knew I had to build it. And from that point came a very long road of me working with freelance devs, working with open source devs, because I'm not a dev. I run the GitHub, I merge pull requests, I can break the app, and if I try to do anything, right, I can adjust the title tag here and there, an H1 or like a button, right? I know some HTML because I'm an SEO, but I'm not in there like putting in JavaScript redirect rules or anything like that. That's a little bit too advanced for me. So yeah, it's just been this long road of trying to build this public goods infrastructure and doing it in such a way that I think it's a very serious, very important innovation, but at the same time, I want to keep it looking like a toy, like keep it being something that's accessible to anybody. Anybody feels like they can come in here and put a bounty for something small. And I do that all the time. Most of the bounties that I put out there aren't super high dollar amounts, right? But the fundamental belief here is that Poid can scale to very large accomplishments, right? We've done that, the kickflip world record. That's the one that we hang our hat on. And I think it's small enough to be this fun platform, the social media platform where people hang out and trade pictures. But it's big enough to move the world and organize money in a way that's impossible to do without Ethereum, without crypto.
And I think that's it. Sorry, I think it's perfect segue. What do you want to say, Brian?
No, I was going to say that's amazing. That's amazing. I think, we started off, 2022 as just, a 10K PFP because I'm heavy artist side, heavy, graphic designer background. But I really wanted to like build a community, and a lot of things that, as soon as my inbox started flooding with, I love the art, I love what you're building, but I have no idea these terms you're talking about. You're talking about wallets, MetaMask, ETH, Gwei, price, and all this stuff, right? And we were like, okay, real quick, then we pivoted to like, okay, we got to teach people what's going on. And one of the things that we really kind of, bring this back to was like, this is a perfect opportunity for anybody or any community to really kind of like raise funds together and decide on what to do with those funds together, which we've never really seen before. We kind of like liken it to like a new Indiegogo or a new Kickstarter type of vibe. And I think that's really cool to see, people like you that are still kind of playing in that, crowdfunding, crowdsourcing some funds in the bounty side and bringing that together, man. It's beautiful. Not a lot of people have that want to utilize the tech for that. A lot of people are just like, I want to try to steal as much money from other people as I can. I'm just trying to sell as much as I can and make the biggest bag and get up out of here, get my yacht and go. But there's not a whole lot of people that have that mission of like, no, this tech can be used, for social good to help communities all over the globe, be in control of what they're earning, what they're making, and what they're pulling together. So that's really solid.
Thank you.
I need like a soundboard.
We'll get there.
Dog in the background. Yeah, no. I mean, I think that's a good point. I like that you bring up the crowdfunding side of things, because I try to tell people about this, right, when they're not really, I talk to like potential investors and stuff like that. I'm trying to explain the potential for Poid, because most people look at crypto, they're like, if you're not doing a DEX, right, or if you're not doing an L1, right? Those are the ways that people have printed money with businesses in the past. And so Poid's a bit risky, right? I'm trying to build this business that, we take 2.5% fees on bounties, and that's about it. You need a ton of bounty volume to make that possible, right? Frankly.
Yeah.
So I'm fighting an uphill battle on the business front. It is what it is. But at the same time, I like to tell people that, crowdfunding, that is the social finance use case of the internet that we have seen. GoFundMe, right?
Yeah.
Like Kickstarter. And I worked on GoFundMe. I actually did SEO for GoFundMe back in the day. So I like that business, and I know it pretty well in terms of like the kind of traffic they can get and the kind of user interest that they can get, right?
Yep.
People enjoy rallying their money together to get things done. And it's just what you're trying to explain to people with Poid is, the analogy we used to always tell people with crypto when you were explaining it to them on payment side, right, was like, oh, it's a push transaction versus a pull transaction. So everything in history up to the point of Bitcoin, like you needed to give your information, they pulled it from your bank account, right? And then Bitcoin was this way that you could push a transaction out into the world. And so I try to tell people that this is push crowdfunding versus pull crowdfunding, where for all human history, you have had to have some central people that said, we are going to get this done, but you got to fund us, right? Everybody puts their money in, and you trust those people, and sometimes it works out well, and sometimes it doesn't work out well. Like you just you had to trust people, and it was the only technology we have. And so I'm just trying to say that, look, we have a new way of doing this. Like you can go scroll through Poid and you can see all the stuff on there. And if you want that to happen, you can help push it. You can put more money into this. You can push that thing into reality. And it's tough because you're trying to explain a totally new use case that doesn't have a proxy to old money, right? In the same way that the financial use cases do, right? And everybody gets the financial use cases because you can see how banks work and finance works. And yeah, but I still think, going back to the opening statements, I think there's this really, we're at a time of I'm immensely grateful to be at this time, because there's these green, wide open pastures, and there are going to be use cases, and we can find those use cases. And I think we're the first ones to doing that. It's going to be really good for us. I think we'll be pioneers in that regard.
1,000%.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I like that push versus pull analogy, because most of the crowdfunding, when we say the word crowdfunding, is an individual asking blanket statement for money for something. And I think what you bring, which is unique, is the person who is earning that thing is decided at the end as opposed to the beginning of the process. So that's like that push concept versus pull is really interesting. So no, I love it. I'm excited to see more people check it out. I've been seeing different things ping here and there with different people claiming we're putting things up on Farcaster. And I think getting more people out there, getting more people to do kind of these literal social good things somewhere else across the world is really cool, to be able to make that impact, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always like hopping on calls like this and have discussions too, just because the hardest part is trying to figure out what to put out there, right? Like what to put out, what can get done, how do you distribute it properly? Because it is so wide open in terms of the opportunities that you could type into that box of thing that I want to incentivize in the world. But yeah, I'm learning, and finding my way as I can. I think I posted the other day that was like a superpower once I realized like how to write bounties in such a way that you can put money out there and it's provable, you can verify it, and somebody can do it, somebody who you don't even know, you never have to know any personal details about them, but like they can do something and they can prove it to you and you can pay them. And it's hard to do, because the flip side of this is it is a dark forest out there, and there's always going to be people out there trying to get your money, right? Like I've been giving away money on the internet for 2 years, so I know all the pitfalls of like, oh, if I make a bounty for shoot 2 3-pointers in a row, somebody's going to upload a video, but I won't know where they got that video. Maybe they got that off YouTube. So I'll make sure that I have them say this is for Poid at the very beginning of the video, right? Or make sure that it's posted on a historic social media account. There's all sorts of tricks to it. Yeah, it's been a fun thing to build, and like to have to squash those problems of making sure that you're efficiently giving away money. Because fraud is everywhere when you try to run something like this. But at least with Poid, it's 100% transparent. You know exactly where you put your money into and what it got paid out for. So I think it's somewhat of an improvement.
You're kind of stepping into an interesting realm. It's like you're talking about like verifiable actions. You're kind of like going beyond real world assets. It's like real world action, which is kind of cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I saw a post the other day. Somebody was like, the crisis of like human authenticity is so real. And which is why I tell people, like, I think this sits at an intersection of a lot of different things we got going on. Like one of the biggest, most active subreddits on Reddit right now is this AI?
Yeah.
Like, everybody wants to have
Yeah.
those debates. And I want the long-term vision for Poid is Reddit for bounties. Like I want,
there you go.
somebody has a bounty and they put it out there and like 10 people put money in. And then there's this whole comment section as well of people weighing in and upvoting and downvoting claims, be like, oh no, that one's not legit. That one's not legit. So I think there is this, there's entertainment value to be had around debates around, did this thing get done? Should this person be rewarded? So there's like that AI angle. And then the other angle is like public goods funding and governance. And a lot of people are disenchanted with what their governments are getting done for them, right? They're disenchanted about the accomplishments that they pay into. Like you pay your taxes and then you have no idea where that money goes to, and you can't trace it down to, hey, I helped fund this thing. And I think that there's an intersection there too. Like people are disenchanted. They want to have an impact in the real world. So yeah, I'm kind of going back against the tide though, because everything right now, like if you want to get attention in crypto in the last month, it's like you got to be doing AI stuff. You got to, right? Like everything has to be AI generated. So it's a little bit at times you're like, oh man, I'm pushing this protocol that's focused on real world activity. Everybody's going to ignore me. But we have had had agents run bounties, so that's kind of cool. Like
that's cool.
There's people. It's Misa Bot on Farcaster who she has ran bounties, and she's still learning. She's made some mistakes, but like she's able to put a bounty up based off an idea and look at the photos that come in, and generally judge, hey, is that AI, and like give them grades. She's kind of a jerk, that's charming because most of the AI agents are sycophants, right? So yeah, I think that's a fun angle too, because have you seen Rent a Human at all? Have you guys seen that pop off?
Yes.
Right? Which is like that's Poid's used. Poid, like
really?
Have you not, Zal? Have you not seen it? Rent a Human?
I've seen it, but I think Maseo asked what it was. If you want to explain it.
Yeah, so Rent a Human, you can go to it, rentahuman.ai. Right. Once all these bots started popping off, all the Claude bots and stuff, this guy made a website where humans could sign up to do tasks for them, right? And as far as I know, nothing that productive is getting done. I mean, I looked at it when it came out and I was like, I'm not really sure about this thing in the first place. Like these agents are going to get scammed. Again, what the main thing that I've learned is like, it's so hard to verify that a human actually did something. Like it's a tough thing. It's tough for me to do it, right? Like a Claude bot, of course it's going to get ripped off. But some of the Rent a Humans gone viral. Like it got a ton of attention. People are like, oh, look, the bots are paying humans to do stuff. And actually, we even did one like this back a year ago, like when AI agents were first popping out. We had a bot running like top hat bounties on the Gen Chain. Like we already did this, but all right, people care about it. They caught the moment. That's fine. They got all the attention. But the bounties that they've done that have been they've gotten the most attention have been picture bounties, where it's like, oh, go hold a sign at Shibuya Crossing in Japan, right? Or go hold a sign at crypto.com arena. And so it's like, okay, so my app is already built for that. It's built for photo verification, right? We're already ahead there. And then the more interesting thing though is that with our open bounty design, the bot can make the bounty and it's the bounty creator, but humans could come in and be in the loop and they could add funds. So you could have a bot that creates something and it's running the bounty, but humans are actually funding it for the bot and it's all permissionless. And then if the bot chooses to pay somebody out because of our on-chain voting mechanism, the humans are there. They're like, oh, you dumb bot, you didn't do this right. You got scammed. I'm going to vote no. And they can get their money back, right? So that's the fun thing with Poid, just totally trustless. And I am as much as I'm bullish on the human side of things, and Poid will always be a human-focused app, to touch on the AI hype, like there is still that aspect there, and there's no reason Poid can't be this platform where humans and agents are collaborating socially.
Yeah, I think the big thing about the rent a human, from what I had heard, was it just asks for so much of your social information to give to it. And like you said, you don't know if it's a scam. So, most people, individuals, aren't going to be just tossing all their information right in there. And I think one of the beautiful things, like you said, about Boyd is that it's permissionless and trustless, because that's the beauty of this technology. And the fact that you don't have to add all that information, you don't have to have all this KYC challenges, because you're just pushing funds. Like you said, you're able to trustlessly believe that the contract is written in such a way where you do have that option at the end to be like, okay, no, this isn't right. Like, I have my back out option if I don't believe that's true. So yeah, I think that's it's a really cool use case, like you said, that's completely unique to blockchain. You couldn't do it otherwise. And in this current world, there's so many middlemen doing different things. It's cool that you've created an automation that does previous middlemen jobs.
No, 100% trustless. We never hold any customer funds. There's no back doors to the contract. It's immutable. I did this because I want to, from a legal perspective. I want to have myself covered, because the reality is you're building this app where people can pool money to do stuff. Some people might try to do illegal stuff. We put in our terms and conditions, don't do that, right? But it's a permissionless blockchain. So even if we remove it from the front end, it could be on the back end. So yeah, I don't want to be liable. So the technology is better this way. This is an improvement over anything else, because I don't have to be a middleman. I don't have to be the person holding money for people and deciding on things. It's always funny to me, because sometimes people bring up to me, they're like, oh yeah, you guys should be the final say in whether the bounty gets paid out. I'm like, I never want to do that. No.
Right.
No, I don't want to be the person handling payouts of money. Like, this should be purely peer-to-peer and pure on-chain rules. There's plenty of platforms with middlemen people can use instead. This is trying to make the argument that you can have use cases that lean into decentralization, that are using decentralization as a strength, not a thing that you have to design around.
Love it. That's been an interesting topic, just seeing like the space as a whole kind of wrap their head around. We're having this first like part in humanity when we can have these decentralized, fully decentralized, actions, especially revolving around finance. And a lot of that comes up. It's like, well, do we need a little bit of centralization? Sometimes, when it is the full Wild Wild West, some humans do a little, out there things. But it's been an interesting thing just to see, that juxtaposition. Okay, we have decentralization, we have a full decentralization option. Other people are like, okay, I see kind of why we do need a little centralization here and there sprinkled in. So
sure. I mean, especially on the financial side. I was having this debate with somebody the other day, right? They were saying that they're talking about the use of tokens in crypto, and like, tokens are obviously the best technology that crypto has to offer. And I guess my pushback on that is, I think they were talking about like the speculative side of things, Zora, launch pads, and Zora made the right call because they were pivoting to like launching tokens. And the reason why it's the right call is because tokens have the most proven product market fit in crypto. And I was like, I mean, there's an argument you can make that centralized sales of tokens do. Like, the number one crypto use case is people buying L1 tokens on Coinbase, right? It's just like centralized custodian, I buy some Bitcoin, I hold it, right? That is the number one. Most people, the general public, is not, bridging and then like swapping on Uniswap, right? There's like the core degens, right? The 20,000 people on crypto Twitter. Yeah. But it's not like we still haven't proven that tokens are this amazing use case. So I still kind of view that speculative side of it as like, it's not a proven, I mean, people will give me crap for this. It's not a proven crypto use case because it's not decentralized. It's a centralized crypto use case. Just that's okay. But there has to be something that's a use case out there that's fully decentralized. And so like, that's what I keep, searching for, what I'm interested in. And I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to Vitalik, but he's been posting a lot about this sort of stuff. Like it was something around, he's posting a lot of like anti-corpo slop stuff. I got it up on my screen. Tech in shitification is like, I like it. It's wartime Vitalik, and he's coming out being like, we need decentralized tech, and we need. He's also strictly called out like non-financial use cases. So it makes me bullish, and it gives me hope as a builder in these times when I'm trying to work on something and you don't know if it's going to work out. It's going to really take off with people. But just to know the main guy, the main ETH guy, the main crypto philosopher is still out here saying that these non-financial use cases are important. And it's, he's saying it in his own Vitalik way, so it's not perfect, clear words. But I think what he's saying is like, these use cases are out here. These use cases are out there. We need to find them. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So I would love to kind of switch gears for like 10 minutes and really give you the space to tell people about how you got into crypto, right? You were pretty early to this space. You were in the Bitcoin space writing before you're even in the Ethereum ecosystem. And I think that gives you like a very unique point of view, right, on how the public conversation has evolved, the internal conversation of people actually building, experimenting, researching, et cetera. And I would love for you to, give us that story.
Yeah, so the first times that I heard about Bitcoin, again, I was studying economics and political science at university, 2010, 2011, and I had an econ teacher. And 2011 was the first big Bitcoin bubble, and I remember seeing it on Reddit. And so I took it to her. I was like, hey, this looks cool. I'm studying econ post-financial crisis. So there's a lot of reckoning in the econ department. They're like, are our models wrong? What are we doing wrong? What do we not see with this? And so I thought it'd be a good idea to bring Bitcoin to her. And I took it to her, and she was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And what are you talking about? What do you mean internet money? It's priced in dollars, so it doesn't have that. I remember her argument was it's priced in dollars, so it can't have its own value, which is really strange in retrospect. Awesome teacher though. He actually had me come give a presentation to the kids at my alumni back in like 2022 as well. Sure. They invited me back, so that was fun. But yeah, so 2011, first time peaking interest, but I didn't get into it. So then 2013 rolls around and there's another bubble. And I was like, all right, whatever. The econ teacher told me no, but obviously it has some value. So I'm going to get into this. At the time, I was running a waffle food truck up in Bellingham, Washington. So that tells you get a poli-sci econ degree, what you can expect to do after college. I'm freelance writing, and I'm like, run this truck. I was also a musician. It's all it was all a lot of different side jobs and interesting things in my early 20s. But I was a hustler trying to find any way possible to get some publicity for my waffle truck. And that was the early days of like, you could, say that you're taking Bitcoin and you're going to be on front page of our Bitcoin. Right. And so like I made a splash like, hey, waffle food truck up here in Bellingham, Washington. And we were one of the first, probably, one of the first 50 on the West Coast of brick and mortar spots to take Bitcoin. So that was good. Got some publicity out of that. The local ABC News affiliate covered us. I can still find the video online. It's somewhere on YouTube, but it starts off as just like, there's this internet currency and it's being used by drug dealers. And hard cut. It's like, but in Bellingham, you can buy a waffle from Kenny's food truck.
I love that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was the early days, and started writing for Bitcoin Magazine too. But I was pulled in by a lot. Like there was the publicity side of things, but there was also just fundamentally I was fascinated by this tech, and like I got pulled into studying econ because I liked econ history. And like there's an old blog you can find from me called Bitcoin and Marx's Theory of History, if you want to dig into my like really heady thoughts around, what is Bitcoin, where does it fit into economic history. And
Would you want to give us like an overview of it?
Yeah. So the general thought of Marx's theory of history is like Marx was looking at evolution from an evolutionary perspective, right? He's like, Darwin figured out how animals evolved, and there has to be a way to figure out how societies evolved from an economic point of view, right? And so his thinking, a lot of people get confused and they think when he's saying socialism, right? Like we should move to socialism, we should move to communism. It's sort of like, you should buy a Coke or Pepsi. It's a decision that you make. But no, what he's actually saying is like humanity is moving on this scale, this evolutionary time span, and it is inevitable that capitalism will lead to socialism. And it's inevitable that socialism will lead to communism from that. It's just a path that you can't stray from, right? And when I was looking through his old writing, a lot of what he says about that time of like, and people talk about this late stage capitalism, right? It feels like what you're getting with Bitcoin, with this movement towards Bitcoin. I'm writing this back in 2014. But he talks about this spontaneous movement of like people having this spontaneous realization. So it's not a top-down thing; it's a decentralized revolution, right? When you think about that in terms of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, of all these people around the world, nobody being forced to do this thing by gunpoint, just coming to a collective realization, this might be a better way of doing money. I think that's an interesting framing for Bitcoin. So yeah, that was the early days, what got me into it. Yeah. And then, the crash happens and life happens. And like, I guess I could have taken the path and continued to work on just only crypto content, but I got into the SEO world and doing digital marketing and different things like that. But I've been following it ever since then. And that continues to be like, I got into this for political reasons, for, hey, we can make the world better if we have better money, right? And I think that Bitcoin fundamentally is political technology, right? Especially if you look at, I think, Maseo, what we were talking about is the difference between, the white paper, right, says it talks about peer-to-peer electronic cash, right, which is very financial. It's just like, hey, this is a payment system, right? But the inside of it, right, the Genesis block, that's saying banks on the brink, or chancellor on the brink, a second bailout for the banks. It's a very fundamental message of like, we live in an unfair economic system. Fundamentally, when you have certain people with access, they get the money first, they get fair treatment, they get cheaper loans. It just messes up society entirely, right? And so I definitely vibed with that. And coming back to that fundamental reason, like, hey, but why do I consider myself a Bitcoin maxi? I still love that message of don't mess with the money. It's just there's 21 million supply. That's it. There's no humans meddling with it or anything. But at the same time, the Bitcoin people, they're just so laser focused on that money piece that they're not really obsessed with like, okay, how do you use the future money in a new and unique way? And that's where the Ethereum community shines, and where I've been able to find my people on, places like Farcaster, where like I talked a little bit on crypto Twitter back in the day, but I was always just kind of somebody in the background of conversations, following the bigger accounts. And then when Farcaster came out, just because it was a smaller pool of people, I could post there and actually get some visibility. And that's really, shout out all the Farcaster people, Farcaster homies, anybody who's watching, because without that, I probably don't build Poid without having that community that I would log into every day. And it was people that were trying to build things and push things, and generally Ethereum people, not a lot of Bitcoin people on there, right? So it was a great space to discover.
A question I wanted to ask you, and I completely get like how the build their energy on Farcaster can be motivating. I feel like crypto Twitter can feel like a lot of information all at once, and I feel like crypto Twitter, Farcaster kind of is a juxtaposition. It's like more like, what can we do right now? You know, how can we collaborate? What's like the new thing people are doing to coordinate in a new fun way? I think I thought DGen was pretty sick. I feel like that's honestly what pulled me on the Farcaster more aggressively, which I feel like probably a good number of people would have said at the time. I was curious though, right? Like you talk about the Genesis block on Bitcoin, and you also talk about like Marx and this vision of like there being like this decentralized revolution. Where do you feel like we actually are in that like paradigm switch, like that conversation? And what do you think? Like I don't know if you said what that through line was of that per se.
Yeah. I mean, the point that we are at in that decentralized revolution is, and we've progressed along. We got more people that believe that they actually care about that crypto has value than ever before, right? But I think we have hit this stalled out point, right? I mean, you can see it on the Bitcoin graph, right? Where like it used to have these giant ups, and now like the latest bull run, it's kind of like this, kind of looks like it's gonna fall over, right? And we're at a really, really important time where I think we have to come up with breakthrough use cases that show people that this money without government can be used for things that we would expect the government to do, but we can do it better than them, right? Because what money without government, like, why is that a special concept? It's like the money is supposed to be the government's job, but the government did so bad at it that Satoshi had to step up, be like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this in a better way, right? I'm going to do it in a way that just completely checkmates everything. So we have to do the same thing now and find, okay, he did money. That's a core government use case. What are these other core government use cases that we can find that we can do better than them? And that's partly why I do try to have this public goods focus with Poid and try to think about what are the different jobs you can put out there that people would traditionally think of as duties of government that we might be able to do. One of the first Poid bounties I ever did was replacing ripped basketball nets at a park down the street. And so like that's what I want to really push after, and where I think that we can change our public perception too, because right now we're not in a good place with the crypto industry. Like you go to a bar and you poll 10 people at that bar and you tell them, hey, I'm in crypto, like 9 out of 10, they're like, okay, peace. Like, don't want to talk to you, dude. Like it's not a good place. And I've seen the other side of it. I remember in 2017, it was different. Everybody was interested in it. It was hot. And now they just associate it with scams and bad vibes. And we need to bring back the better vibes for it. So yeah, coming back to that through line of like the decentralized revolution, it's in a tough place because in a lot of ways it looks like it's failing, but I think it's up to us, the people that are still hanging around here that still believe in this, that like we have to reframe that conversation and find ways to make crypto legitimately useful to the average person.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if Brian, you wanted to say something. I saw you ready to say something, I think.
No, you guys are cooking. If you got more
Yeah, I
questions,
mean, I was
keep it
going to
going.
ask, like, so how can we do that on Poid? Like, how can Poid be a space to almost incentivize people to start like pushing us in that direction, like shifting the conversation? Like, is this that kind of interface?
Yeah. I mean, you need to start to think about like, what is something that I can do in my local community that is a clear task, a clear thing that can be better, and try to fund it, try to organize, right? Put out that bounty, find the RIP basketball net in your community, put a bounty out for it, and I'm going to add money and I'm going to promote it, right? I'm going to try to get this thing done. And that's what I need. And what's hard for me, because it's really tough to convince people to put money into your project, right? And I'm not offering you any financial return either. Like, I'm asking you to just do this out of the kindness of your heart to try to improve your local community. It's a tough sale, right? But that's all I can ask people. And that's why I focus on it too, of like, I just try to stack these use cases of things. So I think right now what we have on the public goods side of things, what are the bounties that I have out? I think I got one for improve public information in your community. This is a $40 bounty. $40 bounty. I think the deadline is winner announced on Monday. Deadline for entry is Sunday. It's like, go out in your community and clean, like you can clean a dirty sign, improve signage, improve public access to information, anything. Show a before and after picture, right? Got stuff like that. Clean and document a shared public space. That could literally be go to a park. You see a bench that's dirty, clean that up, before and after photo, right? These sorts of things. So I'm trying to push it with my own examples, and you can too. Like, anybody can go to these pages and you could add $5 of ETH because you want to see this thing happen. But yeah, where I struggle and where I need community, and I come back to this often. I post these ideas often. It's like, I just need bounty ideas. I need ideas of things to do and go accomplish. The kickflip world record, that was massive.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, the kickflip world record, that came out of the Degen community, and somebody, I think Josic from Degen was looking for marketing ideas, and Garrett from Farcaster, he drops in, he's like, yeah, we should break a world record, because me and him had talked about that before. So then I go look up kickflip world records, or like world records that could be broken on skateboarding. I found this one for the most kickflips in 1 minute and pitched it to Degen DAO, which they had a pretty big treasury. I was like, all right, this will be fun. Like, it's a $10,000 marketing initiative, but somebody's going to break this world record. If they don't break the world record, you get up the money back. That's a good thing, right? No risk, no loss. It's like, this either happens or it doesn't. We get the money back if it doesn't happen. But if we do, we change the world. That's sweet. That was the pitch. And so it was like, you have to break the world record, but at the very beginning of the video, you have to say, this is for Degen, right? And we rallied it. We got $10,000. And then because the DAO put the money in, Josic, who runs Degen, he's like, this is cool. I'm going to put in 20,000. In total, there was like 11 contributors, because other people, they put in $5 here and there, $7 here and there. But the majority was coming from those two entities. And then, yeah, put it out in the world, told people, whoever gets Guinness to update the world record page first, like, you'd get the money, right? So we used Guinness as the oracle, so we don't have to watch a bunch of AI kickflip videos. It's like, all right, Guinness is going to be the ones who verify. And then I woke up one day, and Dave Baczynski, who he's very connected in the space, and he's worked with the NARS guys for a long time. He's been on Farcaster. He was a Degen guy. I saw that notification, and there was his video, and click it, and there he is breaking a world record. And he had got Guinness to update the page. So yeah, that was massive. And that was, when I think about it, it's like, you got to find things like that. What are these big goals that you can go after? It's so fun, because like that video probably got like over 1 million views on social media. Like, and it's still going to get views. People look that up. People search for kickflip world record, right? And that's what they see every time. They see a video of Dave saying, this is for Degen. And I think that's freaking awesome. I also think that's like, as far as we had a whole meta of, like, Zora was supposed to be a content creation platform, right? Like, we had Zora as a content creation platform pushed by the biggest entities in the space. And I'm pretty sure our piece of content is better than anything that came out of there. And so it's something that keeps me going of like, this concept is special. Like we can produce amazing content with this, right? I just need the ideas. I need to find the right things to go after, the right tasks to do, the right goals. And so that's why I'm here today talking to you all, right? Because you only get there if you continue to talk and collaborate and ask people like, what should we go after next? What's the next thing that we could accomplish? And I am bullish on the idea that someday we're gonna hit that vein of content of things where we can just like keep checking boxes and get that flywheel going.
1,000,000%. I love it.
I think it's super sick. So what the immediate thing that shows up for me is like UGC, like it's like a way to like incentivize and authenticate UGC. And so I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on that and like engaging people with platforms, right, to use it as a way to generate UGC, right? They get like a whole marketing campaign and they get to decide which ones they actually want to like think or use, right? Repurpose per se, maybe a better way to frame it.
Yeah. No, we're all about like UGC, short form video. That is the currency of the internet now, right? And you have all these creators and they have these massive fan bases. And when you think about what you could do if you can financially activate all those people, right? And a lot of people are thinking about this. Like there is an evil version of Poid on Solana called Dare Market, which like Dare Market, it's just so bad. Like the other day they had one, they were getting people to drink their own piss and it's awful, horrible. And like, but they have VC funding, right? And they have all the Solana KOLs that like repost their stuff. And so people see that idea, right? And like everybody knows it's valuable to generate this new short form content on the internet. I just need to convince people that like the most valuable form is like the wholesome stuff, right? And not like I want to stay away from the bad vibes and like getting people to do like that's weird, that's terrible. And it gets to the heart of like there's a lot of people who are pessimistic about the internet and pessimistic about the state of the world, and like I am relentlessly optimistic on the internet and what it can enable. And personally, I think, my argument is always that, why is Poi doing it the way we're doing it? And I'm not doing weird bounties, asking people to do shock stuff, right? Why am I asking people to do public goods? Is because like I am a student of internet marketing. Like I'm an SEO. I've worked on some of the biggest websites on the internet. I've grown websites from like 10,000 visitors a month to millions of visitors per month. I've seen this close up, right? And then I'm just like a nerd who grew up on Reddit and MySpace and all this stuff. Like I grew up on the internet. Wholesome content gets the most visibility on the internet. It does. Like those humans are awesome videos, like highlight clips. I'll sit with my buddy and we'll watch like old NBA highlight clips of old players, or I'll like sit with my brother and we'll watch that. Like we don't go watch people hurt themselves. Like sometimes, yeah, there is like Rob Dyrdek and all, but it's a niche of content. Whereas the broadest mass appeal content on the internet is all wholesome things and human accomplishments and funny videos that your mom would feel comfortable sharing on Facebook. And I think that's what we want to be going after in terms of this user generated content.
I love that. Well, I'm excited. I decided I want to I'm doing this crypto podcast, obviously, but I really like just asking people questions and like talking about stuff. Like people so much do a podcast because I talk so much. And I'm starting to do like man on the street content now. I walked around last night here in Denver for like an hour and a half, and I asked like 5 people for 10 minutes each, right? Just a couple of questions. I just posted on YouTube unedited. And I think it'd be cool to kind of have We the Media be a DAO that's kind of just incentivizing like guerrilla journalism in like a really loose, open-ended way, right? Just let's document our oral history or whatever perspectives, right? In like an informal way, and just like get more perspectives from each city, more faces from each city, right?
Mhm.
Almost like yeah, like you said, like I guess I think of like America's Home Videos. I think of like I don't even know. I think of Channel 5, but I feel
Yeah,
like Channel 5 is so refined.
dude, I love this idea, and it's such an unfakeable thing, and something where I could, because I've been trying to do more video bounties, right? Where I put out, and we have an Instagram and a TikTok now, just because skaters on Instagram, it's so big for skater culture, right? Instagram. So when Dave broke the world record, we wanted to have an Instagram. But I've done most of the video bounties. I generally just keep it to like sports stuff where it's like, hey, make 2 3-pointers for Poid, or go top bins, right? Like kick a soccer ball right in the top right corner. But that's such a good idea of like man on the street content, because it can't be faked, and you're getting people to do it. It can be valuable in and of itself, and there's evidence of the city, and AI can't fake it. So I might run and make one of those bounties, or if you want to collaborate on it, let me know. Of
Yeah,
just,
definitely.
and we've done it too, of like I did a bounty where you have to go and like give compliments to 10 random people on the street and post it, right? And so it's like, hey, you're spreading love in your community. You're just walking around and like, and it's great. I mean, some guy did it in it was in Nigeria, and he's just walking through the road. He's like, "Oh, that's a nice shirt that you have," or like, "Oh, that's a beautiful dress," right? And posted it up. But I like it too, if it from the interview perspective. Yeah, let's collaborate, man.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
do it.
another thing that could be really interesting is, let's say someone's, in a lesser populated area and is interested in, I'm working with musicians, so I always try, and if I see a musician on the street, a street musician, I always try and toss a couple dollars of a tip in there. Being able to say,
That's my
put
co-host.
$50 in a musician's tip bin, and we'll give you $50, right? So it's like, that it's trusted, permissionless, it's there, like you will get that coming to you, so you can kind of like pass that along the way. It could be really interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, that's I'm a musician too. There was times when I was that guy out there busking on the streets, so it doesn't mean a lot. I'm the same way, where I want to be putting money into that hat every time that I see it out there. The only thing I'll say on that one, right? Like, all right, so this is a good discussion here. Okay, so if you do, just donate money to a street musician.
Yeah, how do you
How do you
prevent
get
that?
from being a video gets posted and it's a buddy and he tells his buddy to hold a guitar, and right? So these are the things that my mind goes to immediately. So it's important to like, if I had to do a twist on that, I would say it has to be a street musician that also has a social media presence, right? Like most of them do. Most street musicians who are like, they're serious about this sort of thing, right? They have an Instagram. And so just saying, yeah, you got to do it. Go walk up, like donate some money, have it on video, but you need to also tag them on Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah.
Too, and it better not be an Instagram that was created yesterday, or else.
I love it.
All these loopholes you gotta watch out for.
That's why I always I just put first legit claim wins, and legit covers me for a lot of scenarios. And it doesn't feel legit. Like, I'm sorry, you need to like give me a claim with a little bit more information than this, and I will consider it passing the legit check.
No, I like it. Kenny's unfinessable.
I mean, I have been finessed. It is what it is. There was a bad one. Somebody faked for a Gaza relief bounty. That one made me very, 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 very mad. Which it was, what happened? The bounty was to plant a tree in Gaza, and a lot of people donated to it, right? I think it was up at like $300. And so somebody then claimed, like, he sends photos, and it's in Gaza. It's for sure in Gaza, and you can see from the background photos, and there's a lot of social media context. But he's messaging me. He's like, it's for my friend. My friend is the one who did it in Gaza. So, like, I'm going to submit the claim, and then I'll pass the money along to him. And I didn't feel good about it from the very beginning, but the problem was he posts it, and then it blows up on Farcaster. People love it. People love the pictures that he posted, and somebody else adds in like $800, right? Of like, oh, I really want to see this guy get paid, right? And so think, okay, well, if this person thinks it's legit enough to put in this money, I will approve the bounty. And so did it, and then guy never gave any sort of evidence of sending the money through to people. So this is why I'm so Now I've always taken it seriously, but the way that I designed this thing, I want to keep these scams from happening. It can happen. Got to be honest about it when it does, but all you can do is just be vigilant, because people will try to take that money by any means possible.
That's true. I don't know if Zal or Brian, anything else you want to say, but I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're at the hour.
Yeah, no, just would love to, if you want to share where people can catch you, what's the website for Poid as well, and just anything else you want to say, Kenny.
Just check out poidh.xyz. Our handle is at poidhxyz across everything: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X. And then on my handle on Farcaster is just Kenny. There is no Poid handle over there. But yeah, that's where you can find us. My DMs are always open for anybody who wants to, jam on bounty ideas, or if you want to collab on doing some marketing, let me know. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I've really, really, really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm honored that I was the first person for episode 1. So wishing for many, many more successful episodes from here on out.
Yeah, thank you. We're honored too. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being so generous and giving us the whole hour, man.
Oh, all right. Thank you, guys. Gonna sign off. Take care of the kids. The wife has been great looking after them. I'll do better.
Shout out to her.
Yes, shout out always. But you guys have a good time.